Hello and welcome to another edition of Sleepers Media X times Heat Check previews of the weekend's games. I am Carter Elliott of Sleepers Media. I am here with my good friend Riley Davis, UNC superfan, UNC correspondent, ACC correspondent, whatever title you really want to give to him. He really does it all. How are we doing today, Riley?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to talk a little bit about Carolina and Boston College. If I'm being honest, it's a game I'm a little nervous about just because
Okay.
I
Um,
feel like the letdown is coming for Carolina. It's gonna like they're not gonna go undefeated in ACC play. I'd be surprised if they get to the Duke game undefeated just because they have a couple road contests. I don't want this to be the letdown though. Like at least lose at Florida State. They're playing better recently. Like don't lose this game.
That's hilarious that you said that because I was just about to ask you, like, when do they play like Florida State or like Miami or something?
Mhm.
Like that'd be like the letdown-ish spot or like a Georgia Tech, for example, something like that. I just don't see it against Boston College. I'm a big Quentin Post guy. So, I've tuned into Boston College a little bit. They seem to be
Mhm.
kind of be the same team that they have been. But I think you point out a good point here is that UNC is kind of like the hunter or the hunted this year.
Yeah.
Last year they got to this point. They knew what they knew they needed like a big ACC season to make the tournament. Obviously, that goal came up short after a tumultuous year that we don't need to even rehash because it's a new season. RJ Davis and the boys are a new team. Overall, where would the actual worry level be for this game? Because I know letdowns happen. They happen in
Mhm.
college basketball all the time, right? But is there a certain thing about Boston College that they do that scares you, or would it be more so just a letdown from North Carolina and how they play?
It's more a letdown from North Carolina just because if you look at it, it's a 2 p.m. game on a Saturday in Chestnut Hill. I will say, like, what's working in UNC's credit, there are a lot of alum who live in Boston to where I wouldn't be surprised if there are like an equal amount of UNC fans there as there are BC fans. But at the same time, I don't think this Boston College team is terrible by any means. It's not like the Jim Christian teams that would just automatically roll over. It's the quickest they've gotten to 11 wins in a season since 2018, and that was the team that had Kai Bowman and Jerome Robinson on it. One, I think both ended up playing in the NBA, and one was a lottery pick. Um, and that's a little bit like I'm not going to say that Jaden Zachary, who's their best guard, is on the level of those two guys, but he's really shifty. He's built at 220, only shooting about 30% from the year, which is kind of odd. His freshman year, the man was an absolute sniper, and that's starting to look more and more like an outlier. But he can do a good bit with the ball in his hands. And I will say Carolina has done exceptionally well at containing dribble penetration, really over the past 6 games. However, against Louisville this past Wednesday, that was sort of the first time this we've seen some cracks in this Carolina defense, and it's tough to say was that just letting the foot off the gas after they went up about 18 to 20 points. But there were points in that second half against Louisville where it was like Sky Clark was able to get some clean shots from three. He made some tough shots, but they were able to manufacture some pretty easy buckets out of the pick and roll. Early into that second half when they cut into UNC's lead. And I wonder if Boston College sees something there that they can exploit. And like you mentioned, Quentin Post is one of the best bigs in the country that no one talks about. He's kind of got a bag down low in the post, but he can also step out and hit threes. And he's just huge, 7 feet tall, 230 plus. And Baycott after the game against Louisville on Wednesday, he mentioned Post to someone specifically that's like, hey, this guy is pretty legit. Like a lot of folks who don't follow the ACC might not know who he is, but that's kind of the key. If Boston College wants to pull off any upset bid, it comes down to both those players.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you try to examine how a team can pull off an upset, there's like different ways that they can do it. Like some teams, they'll hang their hat defensively. Like I'll tie this back to like a Rutgers team. Even though Rutgers isn't that good this year, they have the ability to beat anybody because despite how inept they are offensively, they're a
Mm-hmm.
top 10 defense on KenPom, and they are gonna check, and that will help them win basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when I put on my statistical hat and I started deep diving into Boston College and what they can necessarily do, I really don't know what they can do. They're really good at taking care of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If that a test for anything, they rank top 25 in turnovers per game, so they do a great job protecting the ball. Outside of that, they're 185th in total rebounds. They're 178th in field goal defense, 300th in the nation in 3-point defense. So, you could, if you need a game for Cormac Ryan to get back on track and knock down some threes, that might be
Mhm.
this game. RJ Davis as well can continue his play as one of the better guards in the country. I don't want to be too doom and gloom on this, but it would take a massive letdown from North Carolina, the basketball team, and how they're playing to lose this basketball game. And in all honesty, if they do let down, they probably still win by like 7 to
Yeah.
11 points. Like a letdown is a win. It'd be a catastrophic loss if they lost this basketball game.
I think I'm with you on that. Though oddly enough, Kim Pom only has the spread UNC -8. It'll be interesting to see what the real number is.
Really?
Yeah, it feels a little close because, like you said, their defense is bad. They don't have the formula like Rutgers does to just muck a game up. They've played in some ugly games, but they've lost most of those ugly games. They can shoot pretty well. They're shooting 37% in conference play. Aside, like they have, I mean, Quentin Post, he's only made 24 threes, but super efficient, over 40%. Claudell Harris, a Charleston Southern transfer, he's actually shot the ball way better than I thought he would have coming up from the Big South. Um, but it also, like, just even preparing for this, looking up some of his highlights on Twitter or reading like the Boston College fan perspective of him, it seems like he has a reputation as a bit of a gunner who can shoot you out of a game as well. And then Mason Madsen is another guy who's been kind of lighten it up from deep for them. So, I mean, I do think in order for them to pull off any upset, they're gonna need at least 10 made threes. Maybe you get it at home. But at the same time, like this UNC team is ran teams off the line in conference play. No one's hitting shots against them. I think some of it might be lucky, but they're also again like this the Louisville game this past Wednesday was really the first time since they played Kentucky in mid-December where it looked like they weren't all the way dialed in defensively.
Right.
Throughout the start, like the first 5 games of conference play, the Oklahoma game, they've been contesting shots. They've been making crisp rotations. Again, sometimes 3-point shooting defensive numbers I know can be fluky, but it hasn't really felt that way to me with this UNC team.
Yeah, and credit to them. They've been able to go on the road and do a lot of these like I believe it was it a 3-game win part of they're on a
Mhm.
6-game win streak right now. 3 of those were all back to back to back road games, right?
Yeah, 3 straight road games.
I mean, that's impressive no matter how you cut it, no matter what team you're playing in college basketball. Being able to go 3 straight road victories in conference is special. UNC is the hottest team in the country currently, in my eyes. I think Kentucky would be a close second, but they did drop that game against Texas A&M. But I don't think anybody's playing better than UNC right now, and it starts with RJ Davis being the best
Mhm.
guard in the country in my eyes. And then obviously you have Armando Bacot back. You bring in the transfers. Everything's kind of gelling. You're getting contributions from everybody. We're getting Jalen Withers special games.
Double
Like
doubles, legacy
Hubert is
games.
getting special games out of Jalen Withers. All right. For all I talked about this with Greg on our last episode, where I think Hubert needs to get more credit for what he's doing with this team and the pieces he brought in.
Right.
And I think he's doing a fantastic job right now. I just don't know how you it's going to take a special performance in team, I think, to stop this UNC team with the way they're playing right now.
Mhm.
And I salute Coach Grant. I salute the Boston College Eagles. I salute you, Quentin Post. Unfortunately, this ain't for y'all. All right. I'm sorry. North Carolina's won 17 of the last 18 meetings against them. Like it's a dominant type performance.
Do you know which team it was off the top of your head? Maybe you already saw it. That was on the last Carolina team that lost to Boston College.
So wait, who's on the North Carolina team?
Mm-hmm.
Was it the championship team for North Carolina? Was it like
Quite,
it was?
it was quite the opposite. It was the Cole Anthony team that won 14 games.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah, it was Cole Anthony's first game back, coming back from injury. They lost by 1. I vividly remember watching it and being just dumbfounded that Carolina was about to lose at home to Boston
Who
College.
was on that Boston College team? Was that Bowman? That wasn't Bowman and Robinson. That was
No, it
Curtis.
was like Jay Heath. It was like a who's who
Jake.
of miscast players.
Jake.
Yeah, Derek Thornton was on it. Jairus Hamilton, bad
Derek,
basketball team.
former Duke. Oh, that's crazy.
He stunted on UNC that game. Uh,
Oh, that's
he had
disgusting.
15 points and 3 assists. It felt like he was stunting. I know that's not the great for Derek Thornton. That might as well be like a 30 point 20 assist game.
Yeah, no, that's a special game. But Derek Thornton's not walking through that door. Jay Heath isn't walking through that door. I know you told me that the Ken Palm thing that it says it's UNC 8.
Mhm.
If it is UNC 8, you'll catch me there placing that very, very quick. I think they win this game by double digits easily.
I think if I had to say, I know I said I was worried about a letdown, but I think hopefully as a Carolina fan, we saw that letdown in the second half of Louisville where they got a little complacent, defense got a little lazy, and they still won by 16. Um, Hopefully that's all they needed to lock in for 40 minutes and get back to the defense that they played really for the past month and a half. I like what you said about Cormac Ryan coming off of 4 3-point performance against Louisville. Should get a lot of good looks at this game. RJ Davis, of course, it's going to be tough to keep him under 20. And the last thing, I know you already mentioned Armando briefly. Something that has been a really nice wrinkle that Carolina's done a lot this year is let Armando make plays off the short roll, and he's improved a ton as a passer. One of the Jalen Withers buckets was off this. He cut baseline as Armando fed him off the short roll, just a gorgeous bounce pass. So yeah, want to see more of that. I think the Boston College defense would definitely be susceptible to that. So yeah, I think I'll go with UNC by 10 as well.
Just 10 or 10 or more.
I'm gonna keep it simple and just go by 10.
Okay, I'm gonna go there. They win this game by 20. I'm sorry. I've only watched 2.25 Boston College games this year, which is a lot for me. I will admit. Like, I did do my research. Boston College fans, don't come at me, but when you watch a lot of basketball, sometimes you don't have time to get to Boston College games. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But we will hopefully our heels roll in this game as they have their sights set on. I mean, you can see there's a path where they handle their business. You're looking at number one seed turning for UNC, and that's within their sights right now. ACC regular season title, like a lot of things to look ahead to. These are the games you got to handle business. I think they will. When they do handle business, Riley and I will be back here to, recap the game and hopefully talk about all good things. Because if they lose, I don't think we can recap it. To be honest with you.
Yeah, you might have to have Greg fill in for me on that one.
Okay, all right. We'll catch y'all in a recap.